Oh, hi there. Sorry, did not see you. There is a chance that you might be watching this video on your smartphone. If not a smartphone, then maybe a computer screen or your TV. Whatever the case be, these are all devices that were expensive and exclusive at one point, right? But that's not the case anymore. Almost everyone has a smartphone. And EVs are a bit like that right now. They are expensive, they're not the primary vehicle, they're not really being adopted by the masses, right? Or is it? In fact, that might not be the case anymore because this is the Tiago EV, the most affordable Tata EV right now. And Tata has already got a few products which are there for the masses. The Nexon EV has been doing really well, and they're hoping that this can replicate that success or maybe even be better than that. Today, we will be shooting about 40 kilometers away from where we are right now. So this car will go through a rigorous testing of going up and down and seeing if it can endure a full day of testing. So let's see how it fares. But the only problem is that this is not actually my car. This is just a display car which I borrowed for this shot. Let's go to the real one. Now, before I go ahead and tell you a bit more about the Tiago EV, I would appreciate if you could like this video and hit subscribe if you have not done that already. So the first thing that I want to tell you is that Tata is offering the Tiago EV in two different versions. There is a medium range and a long range version. So the difference is in the battery size and the motor power and torque outputs. This is the long range one. Then you have the medium range version which has a 19.2 kilowatt hour battery, and that has a modest range of about 257. That is the claimed range. Now this one also has a more powerful motor, which means that it generates about 74 horsepower and 114 newton meters of torque, while the other one produces about 60 horsepower and 110 newton meters. So while driving, the first thing that you'll notice is, just like the other Tata EVs, how smooth and obviously silent this is. And that is very good because especially when you're coming back from office or when you're in the hustle and bustle of the city, you would want a vehicle that is not crude, that does not feel unrefined. Yes, the NVH levels aren't great. You can hear a lot of the ambient sound. Like for example, we are on a highway right now and the sound coming from the tires and the road is a bit much, but you can drown that out with some music, I guess. Both versions of the Tiago EV come with two driving modes. There's a normal drive mode and there is a sport mode. The difference is in how the vehicle responds when you floor the accelerator pedal. While in the normal drive mode, after about 60 or 70, it can start to feel a little more mellow. In the sport mode, you can go up to 80 kmph and the vehicle will still feel very lively. In both modes, you can reach the same top speed. We were able to get a top speed figure of about 120 kilometers an hour, which is pretty respectable. So that means that you can take this EV on highways. Doing 100 kmph is not a problem in either mode. It's just that in the drive mode, it will take you a little more time to get there. As we are in Goa, we were able to find some gradients, some slightly steep climbs, and with two people inside the car and our luggage, which we had a lot of, the vehicle had absolutely no trouble climbing up even in the normal drive mode. So that means even if you live in a hilly area, you won't have any complaints with the gradability of this vehicle. Now let's talk about the range. So like I mentioned, this has a claimed range of 315 kilometers. Obviously, in the real world, you do not get as much. We have been driving for about 100 kilometers since morning and we still have about 50% charge left. And by my calculation, considering that regen will also step in, I think this vehicle can easily give about 200 kilometers on one single charge. Speaking of the regen, you get a total of 4 modes. There is an off, there is level 1, 2 and 3, with the level 3 being the most active version of the regen braking system. So that I think is a good addition, considering that this is a more budget oriented vehicle, but Tata has still given you 3 different modes for the regen system, and they really do make a difference. When you switch it off, the vehicle just keeps on cruising. It does not stop as immediately as it would in level 3, and even in its most aggressive setting, it does not become too intrusive unless and until you're driving at very slow speeds. If you're going, let's say, at 50 or 60 odd kilometers an hour, the vehicle will slow down in a very gentle manner. Yes, you will feel the difference, like I said, within the 3 modes, but still it's not something that you would find annoying. So that ways, I think Tata has done a good job with calibrating the regenerative system, and it does give back a decent amount of range. And being a Tata vehicle, this thing is a delight to drive, be it on twisty roads or on roads that have potholes. The suspension setup is really nice. I'll show you, there are some rumble strips. And it does not rattle you up even if you go through, let's say, a speed breaker. It still feels very pliant, very comfortable. Now the tires do a good job for the most part. Unless and until you're absolutely pushing the vehicle, you won't feel the need for a bigger or better rubber on all 4 sides. The drive selector that you have here is nice. It's simple, it gets the job done, same as the Tiago EV. You have to keep one thing in mind, that even though it's a circular dial, if let's say you're in sport mode, which is on the absolute right side, if you want to get to reverse, you can't just twist it again to the right. You have to turn it left all the way and go through drive, neutral, and then reach reverse. So that is something that might take some time to get used to for some people. I would have preferred personally if the dial could be twisted again to then engage reverse. If I talk about the steering wheel, it has been calibrated for chock-a-block traffic driving, so that means it will not stress you even after a long drive through bad traffic. And when you do gain speeds, it does gain a little more weight, it does give you a little more feedback. But like I said, this is an entry-level hatchback, so don't expect it to have the sporty sedan kind of performance. Even in terms of charging, this vehicle does not take very long unless and until you're using the standard 15 amp socket. You do get an option to get a faster 7.2 kilowatt AC charger with this vehicle, which can top up this long range version in about 3.6 hours and the medium range one in about 2.6 hours, which is pretty decent. It also supports fast charging, which can take the car from 10 to 100% charge in just 58 minutes. So it's really interesting to see how the battery capacities are going up, the range is going up, and the charging times are going down, really showing that EVs are starting to become more and more accessible and more a common sight on the roads, and probably that is the reason why. Now we won't talk about the exterior design too much because it's basically the Tiago EV with a few blue accents, a new grille, all of that stuff which you've already probably seen in our walk around video. So we'll gloss over that. Even on the inside, it basically has the same amount of space. We spoke to the people in the company and they said that one of the objectives while making this vehicle was to not disturb the interior space, keep it pretty much close to what it is in the ICE version of the Tiago, and that remains. So if you've been in a normal Tiago, you'll know pretty much what you're signing up for. One thing that I did notice is that while the Tiago EV gets black stitching on the seats, which look really nice with the tri-arrow pattern, this one misses out on that. I think that would have been a nice little cosmetic touch. Finally, I would like to talk about the price. Well, the price for this vehicle starts at about 8.49 lakh rupees ex showroom and goes all the way up to 11.79 lakh. Now, that is more expensive than the top end petrol Tiago, the base variant of this one. But still, what you are getting is a vehicle that is going to cost way less to run, feels very smooth, very refined. Yes, I would have loved to see a bit more attention to the interior, maybe improvement of the plastics and fitment a little bit, and maybe addition of a few features just to make this package even more enticing. But even in its present state, I think this is quite a good deal. Like I mentioned, this is the most affordable Tata EV. In fact, if you want a proper vehicle for your family in India right now, this is the most affordable option that you can opt for, and I can see a lot of people going for this. In fact, even Tata Motors believes that this vehicle could eventually take over the Nexon EV numbers and sell even more volumes. Now, I'm interested to know which of the two versions, the medium range and the long range, would you be interested in buying? Because according to Tata, they have said that according to their data, their bookings, a lot of people are opting for the long range version. Do you think that the smaller version is maybe a bit too less, or do you think that is good enough for daily short distance commutes? So that was our brief time with the Tiago EV. I definitely like the way it drives. I love the range that they've provided in this price point, and I'm really excited to see what more Tata Motors can do in the future along with other manufacturers. Yes, if you still want a bigger vehicle, you have the Nexon, and if you want a slightly bigger vehicle, you could opt for the Tigor. But this is, I think, a nice addition to the Tata EV family.